Good morning, my dear friends. My name is Geeta Dashrath. I am the Chief Academic Coordinator at Practical EduSkills. Let me give you a brief information about Practical EduSkills. Practical EduSkills is an educational institute. It is running successfully since last 17 years. We are very proud to share that we have placed more than 18,000 students successfully. We mainly provide 4 courses, which are Practical BCom, Practical BBA, Practical MBA, and Bridge course. The unique concept has been invented by Mr. Sanmit Shah sir, who is MD and CEO of Practical EduSkills. And we are very fortunate that we have Sanmit sir with us today. So yes, over to you, sir.
Yes, absolutely. Great. So thank you so much, Geeta ma'am, for the wonderful introduction and start. We are really fortunate that actually Chakur Gandhi sir is with us. And why? Because see, today is Thursday. And Thursday is like in our culture, it's Guru Var. And the concept that we have started is Guru Mantra. So that the words of wisdom from our Guru itself. And those mantra means those experiences, those information, whatever that our gurus are willing to share with us are like are like mantras for us. If we follow those, if we chant those mantras, there is absolutely a success hidden behind those words. And we are today really fortunate that Mr. Chakur Gandhi sir is amongst us to guide us, to give us that Guru Mantra, which will lead all of us to an entrepreneurship, to a better life, to an employment, we can say, and overall development of ourselves. We at Practical EduSkills are fortunate that Gandhi sir is on our Board of Studies and Board of Industrial Relations as well. He's helping us to shaping up our practical MBA course, making it more and more pragmatic oriented, adding his own experiences into it so that it can be delivered in the best manner. And to talk more about Gandhi sir, he's a MBA, he's a DME and MBA, and he has been self-employed since last 30 years. And teaching is his passion, that is in his blood. And he keeps on mentoring, guiding individuals, businessmen. So that's why we call him Guru, the business coach. And he has been empowering us, mentoring us, and we are really fortunate. He's there on Board of Studies. He's there on the board of more than 4 educational institutes and 1 hostel. He has got Vyapar Bhushan Puraskar and Samaj Ratna Puraskar by Federation of Hummar Jain. We are really fortunate to have us in Jain Association as well, sir. And he's having that unique personality with the passion. And the person who has lived business to its core, he's amongst us to guide us about how to live MBA and not study. My dear friends, MBA is all about living it. MBA is all about understanding it by getting into it, by getting into the business itself. And who else better than Chakur Gandhi sir would be in a position to give us the better idea of it, how to live MBA and not study. Over to you, Gandhi sir. Welcome again. Thank you so much.
Am I audible? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Sanmit, for a wonderful introduction. And I'm really glad I'm associated with your institute, the initiative you have taken, because the kind of work you're doing is absolutely fitting the gap, which is there into education and the industry. So I'm highly honored to be here today morning to talk on this favorite topic of mine, how to study MBA, how to live MBA, and rather how to live MBA and not only to study MBA. It's not to study MBA. It's not only to study MBA. How to live MBA. Now, this program normally I do for induction programs in MBA colleges, because typically students coming to MBA after their graduation, they need this education, this induction. And the colleges, probably the message they have to give cannot give, and I go as a guest for this induction programs. The kind of MBA I have done was an autonomous MBA those days from IMDR, and they had the liberty to try and do so many things beyond the syllabus. So that's one of the educations which I still, 70% of it, which I still remember, because we learned it in a different way. We not just studied it for placement, not for only for marks, but we enjoyed the studies of 2 years. It was a privilege to study, staying away from business, because that was the time we used to get, and a whole day during the day we had to attend our businesses. So if you ask me, I've lived this life, I've enjoyed MBA. Now, the reason for me to talk about this topic, how to live MBA and not only study MBA, is because I have been to most of the colleges, and I am not here to find faults or criticize anybody. But the best sentence which I like, which the Dean of Harvard had said, Harvard, in spite of being such a world's one of the best colleges or the institutes for management, the Dean said, though we are very practical and try to be along with the edge, the industry is traveling at a very high speed and the education is lagging behind. There is a gap between what happens in the industry and what's taught in the management colleges. If Harvard says this, it's time to think for all of us. Yes, but there is a possibility. It's up to you how you can make the best of the MBA. Now, first thing is MBA is higher education. It's post-graduation. So we all students need to understand what higher education means. Graduation, up to your schooling, up to your board, we are taught to just refer to one book, or many times the notes are given, many times the likely questions are given. That's fine, maybe fine up to the graduation level. But the day you come for post-graduation or higher education, wake up and shake up. It's not 9 to 5 kind of an education. Here, yes, that education, formal education is there and is most required. But this is not an education, MBA, where the teacher opens the notes or gives a PPT and we just copy down. I've been to many universities abroad. I've been to Cambridge, Oxford, Lancaster, and I saw there what is taught in the class is very less, but the kind of work that is given. For example, if the classroom teaching is 3 hours, the work after that is at least 9 to 10 hours, 12 hours. And the assignment have to be put in the Dropbox by 12 o'clock in the night. So after the education is done, after the formal teaching is done, you need to do a lot of work. You need to do a lot of research. It's not only one set of notes. Always you have a referral list of books. There may be one definition that is taught. For example, marketing, you'll find, or entrepreneurship, you'll find one definition taught in the class. But then there would be 200 definitions of entrepreneurship. Similarly, marketing. Now, if you ask me, if I ask you what is marketing, you will probably give me one definition. But does it end with one definition? There are 200 definitions of marketing. So higher education means there is a part which needs to be taught, other part needs to be learned. I love one more sentence, very nice. I hate to be taught, I love to learn. This learning part is a major thing for higher education. So yes, certain things are taught in the class, but definitely no way. These are the notes. You please take down these notes, or I'll email you the notes. Normally, the classroom planning, the session planning is what is going to be taught, what is the objective of teaching it, and what is the outcome expected out of it. And then there is a lot of referrals. These books to be referred, these articles to be referred. There is everyday articles coming from Harvard Business School and so many schools. So wake up and shake up. This is not your classroom of graduation or school or higher school. Here you have to learn a lot along with a lot of teaching in the class. Now, example I'll give you in marketing, what is there to be taught? The best way I remember, Dr. Saraute was our professor in marketing for IMDR. So he always told us for his exams in marketing, he said, I don't want the theory, or if you want, you can write the theory. But if you quote one example for that principle of marketing, I will understand whether you understood. For example, USP. No, if I write 10 pages on USP, rather than I give you one example of USP, that shows that you've understood it. So first point is higher education is reading a lot of material away from only one book or the notes or the presentation. Then you study, come back with your question. The most happiest teachers in this world is when students come back with questions. This is what we learned, but this is what I see. Can you tell me how does it apply? So higher education is referring, gathering a lot of information, and classroom is only a part. Now, second is I hate to be taught. I love to learn. How do you learn? See, market is very dynamic. Now let's see, probably most of us are going to MBA for two reasons. One is for a good placement or a job. Other is you want to be an entrepreneur, set up your own business. Third is probably you already have a startup and you want to work on it. These are the basic fundamental expectations of most of the students and the parents from MBA. Now, MBA means you are tomorrow's managers, tomorrow's presidents, tomorrow's.
We seem to have lost connection with Chakor Gandhi sir right now. So just to fill the gap, sir, can I just read out the highlight points that sir just said? One wonderful sentence that I think will stay with me forever now is, I hate to be taught, but love to learn. That is the right attitude I think all the students must have, and especially when you're doing your masters. What do you say, sir?
I should say this should be the mantra of today's Guru
Yes.
mantra. I hate to be taught, but I love to learn.
Yes. Today's mantra, I think this is the best the students.
Sorry. I by mistake got it.
It's okay, sir. No problems.
Locked out.
Please continue, sir.
Yeah. To continue from here, and the moment you have to do tomorrow, a very interesting example I would like to give is for managements of principles of management, such a serious subject in management. In IMDR those days, we had open book system, and we were very happy that we don't have to study. But interesting is we carried the books, but unless we knew what we are looking for, we could not refer the books. Most of us scored very bad in that open book system. What I'm trying to tell you is, if you read basic books in management and principles of management, that's higher education. And believe me, friends, till my MBA, I used to study and measure how many hours I used to study. But MBA, I never realized how many hours I studied. No one had to compel it. Point is, you are tomorrow's tomorrow's presidents, vice presidents, managers, CEOs, CFOs, CTOs. Now, this business is very dynamic. And if you are not into the practice of studying things from all angles, getting all of information, tomorrow you tell me, can you take a management decision without having a lot of data, without having a lot of knowledge, without having knowledge of the market, without having knowledge of the global scenario? One example. Now, if you were studying MBA only from the books, how will those books have this example of Ukraine and Russia war? Believe me, if you're not reading, not following what's happening, do you think any business in this world is immune from the situation? Do you think tomorrow you are a CEO, will you be able to take decisions unless you are very well informed your country, in the entire globe? Business is very, very dynamic. For example, ask my students when I go for induction, how many of you know what is the Sensex? And surprisingly, very few hands come up. Now, you may ask me, what has MBA got to do with Sensex? Yes, every second it's got something to do with the Sensex. You may be a CEO or a manager in a listed company. You should be knowing what's happening to your company's stock, how it's getting affected, what the shareholders are feeling about you, what the FIs are thinking about you. So first request to you, if you are not, when you join MBA, try to open an account. And I am not saying speculate, but invest whatever is the amount, 5,000, 10,000 rupees. If you do this, unless your money is in, unless your skin is in the game, you will not follow the stock market. Please don't misunderstand me that you speculate or you operate in future and options. Maybe you invest 5,000 rupees, but then you see how you start reading the financial papers, how you start following up things, how you start reading. Now, one more, Sanmeet, you also must be going through this. If you are doing MBA and if you're not reading one financial paper, do you think you're doing MBA? How can it be? One advantage of this financial papers is in 5 rupees you get to study, or at least you start thinking in crores of rupees. You know what's happening in the market. MBA's whole is the entire ecosystem. You are going to go in business or a job where marketing is relevant, finance is relevant, what's happening with the human resources is important. What is happening in the global markets is important. Most of the times I ask the students, what was the Sensex yesterday? Most of them don't know. It's fine, you don't know. But when you get into MBA, please get into this. Second thing, where I teach in MBA colleges, I make them open accounts and we follow it up every day as to what happened, why your stock came down, why it went up, what affected. One person in this globe sneezes somewhere and the entire market reacts to it. So you need to learn. Then only then you are doing MBA. So one is the finance. I always ask, what's the price of crude? And people laugh at me, these students, what have we got to do with crude? Now see this Russia-Ukraine war. Whoever thought this country will undergo so much of inflation? Where did it begin? 3 months back, first day. This should have been a topic for discussion in the college. How this is going to affect all our economies. I'm thrown out of business. And see, food grain. Now, today, all of a sudden, export of wheat is banned. So many businesses will come into the purview. So you have to understand, if you are doing MBA, there should be a discussion in the class as to what's going to happen next. The wars are fought on money. The wars are fought on food grains. The wars are fought on crude prices. Now see, England is probably is going through toughest time of inflation. This developed economy. So maybe you are in a business or an industry which needs to import. Now see the prices of steel, cement, everything going up, all metals going up. If your industry's raw material is, let's say, LDP, HDP, if it has grown, it has gone double, and you're not aware of this. And if someone says that, oh, when I get into job, I'll start trading. No, this is something which you start living right now. One very interesting thing. When I say market is the best university in this world, people ask me, students ask me, what should I do? What business should I do? See, no consultant in this world, I'm a business coach, can really answer this question. Who answers this question? Is the market. If you go to the market and see where the demand is, where the pain is, all startups today talk about solving one problem or some pain point in existing business. So, okay, your college ends at 5 o'clock. Maybe you can go to a supermarket. Maybe you can go to a market. Maybe you can spend hours on online just to study as to what is happening, how things are being, how interactive things are being done. My best example always I give you, even if you go to have a cup of tea and you see two shops adjacent to each other, one is having a lot of rush and other there's no customer. So my normal question is, where would you go? So, normally people will say, I will go where the rush is. Now, what's happening there is the consumer psychology. One second. Consumer psychology. What's working out there? Can you come back to the class and ask your professor, sir, I saw this. Can you tell me why there was a rush in one shop and I went to that shop only? Can you apply your principles of marketing? Can you apply your principles of consumer behavior? This is hands-on. I went to a supermarket. I just saw the right side racks. I never felt like seeing the left right racks. Why is it happening? Why did it take time for me? Or I left the shopping and came out. What went wrong? So try to, MBA is studying as well as applying. Continuously apply whatever you observe, whatever you read, whatever you see, and discuss. Find out the reasons. And see, management, every time 2 plus 2 could not be 4. It could be 3, it could be 10, it could be 30. So the main thing is trying to apply all what you study in the class. Now, financials. You in MBA you study balance sheet, right? So my suggestion to you is balance sheet. Yes, studying, understanding the principle is fine, but does it really tell you everything? No. What's happening is, after studying that balance sheet, there are lots of balance sheets of listed companies which come. Try to see whether you can read those balance sheets. Try to come back to the class. And best thing is, if you want to really study a balance sheet, try to make one for yourself. Go home, irrespective of what you have, how much you have, less or more. If you can make a balance sheet for yourself, then let's see what happens. Whether you can make it or not. Then you'll come back to the class saying that, sir, I tried, but this is where I'm getting stuck up. One-way education, professor teaching you and you nodding and taking down notes and going home is not MBA. I used to teach entrepreneurship for 8 years in Symbiosis Institute of Health Science and Management. So one thing I decided, and the college also permitted me with their greatness, I said, I'm not going to teach from the books. Entrepreneurship, is the theory important? Yes, it may be to an extent, but does it make you an entrepreneur? So we used to have very interesting assignments, scaling up, taking risk, what risk is. So a lot of interaction, seeing what comes from the students is very important. Basically, MBA or higher education should make the students think, students refer, students apply what they are studying. So if you are an engineer and you never get a chance to apply, the day you get into the industry, you have to be trained again. Even Narayan Murthy of Infosys says they have to make you workable. Best of the merit students have to be trained at their Mysore. Similarly, for MBA, if you get exposed to these things, smaller activities in college, please, you come ahead. This is higher education. Typically, one game which is played, students are waiting for the professors to do something. Is this your higher education? Who has stopped you? You come ahead, you make a study group, you make a reading group, you read an article, have a participation, you make communication skills as an activity. You don't have to wait. It's your 2 years of life. And believe me, all these things on your CV make a difference, makes a lot of difference. Even your SOPs when you write for foreign universities. These things do matter, what you have done. MBA typically, why do you think has a lot of case studies? Case studies is not right or wrong. Case studies is what you think, how many points you get to the table. When you do events in the college, you also learn to work in teams, interpersonal skills, how you can work as a team. You know, I am many times a jury for best manager competition, and it's always the team. There's one finance guy, one marketing guy, one all. It's a team. So I'm coming back. It's interesting. While sleeping, while reading, while eating, immediately you're eating. Let's say you're eating somewhere in a restaurant, and then it comes to you. It should come to you. What's right in this restaurant? Why is it this? Why is this working really good? Even if you see the waiter, many times you'll find a very good person, very whom you like. Ask yourself, why did you like him? If tomorrow I have to train my people, what could I pick up from this? So all these things, when I say live MBA, always you should think of all these things. Now this malls, this modern trade, all these things are there. News, it's live. Now you are a generation where newspapers have become nearly redundant, because yesterday's news you read, but by the hour, I am sure most of you are informed on Twitter or on all these apps. But the application part, one very interesting thing I'll tell you, worldwide, nowhere MBA is offered without a job experience. Nowhere. If you go to the best of the universities, the average age of the class is 37, 38 years, because they've done their undergrad, they've gone to the industry, they've worked, either they save money and come back, or the industry sponsors their MBA. Now, if I were to teach two separate different classes, one of fresh graduates coming to MBA, for me, it's a cakewalk. I go on talking anything, you will not challenge me, you will accept the way I am talking. Second case, let's say I have a class who has work experience, who have worked in finance, marketing, strategy, HR, whatever, CRM, sales. Now, if I make one statement in that class, the class will immediately ask me, sir, you are saying this, but when I tried this, it did not work, or it worked. Or genuine questions come, sir, how do I handle competition? How do I handle reservation about pricing? What is the difference between value and price? See, if I teach all these things one way, there's no fun. You will feel that you've understood, but when it's time to apply, maybe you will not remember. So it's not only theory. Interesting part of MBA, which I did, and I'm sure many colleges or MBA course has designed it, is a lot of case studies. So, I still remember when case studies used to be there, the earlier night there used to be butterflies in the stomach because you have to go and stand in front of the class. Now, communication skills. If I tell you, teach you 10 days communication skills without you applying, without you practicing, do you think it makes the classroom? And how much time can it teach you swimming in the classroom? What will happen when you actually enter the water? That time you'll understand how you have to actually swim. So let's compare this exactly with MBA. So anyone who thinks that MBA is only in the classroom, I am a star student, morning 9 o'clock till 5 o'clock. I just lecture after lecture and taking down notes. And nowadays, students don't take down notes. They ask the teacher to send it on email or on the app. So that also is not done. What do? You start dozing. You start feeling sleepy. I know how much it is difficult to just go on listening. But if MBA is made interesting, interactive, listening to the students, listening to you all, how you have applied, what difficulties you had. Maybe the professor says, oh, I don't know, but I can study and come tomorrow. Fantastic, there's nothing wrong in it. Tomorrow you are invested in stock market. So beginning session 15 minutes as to what happened with the Sensex or Nifty. And see now how the students get transformed. They've read, they tell you why the crude went up, why this company, why this happened to LIC IPO. If you're not aware of LIC IPO, are you fit to be a manager today? Do you think you are taking management education? No way. So all what's happening in the world, what's happening in the country, what's happening in my state, what's happening next to me, in my city, in the market. And as I told you, market is the best university. What's coming new? Who has replaced whom? And then you could have questions like, why all of a sudden you're seeing so many Ola cars? Why Dunzo came in? Why you and me started ordering on Swiggy or Zomato? What need was created? Can you apply this to different theories of management? So if you go to see 3 important points, day one, you decide to enjoy MBA. Second point, it's not 9 to 5. The classroom may be 9 to 5 or 3, but your MBA studies start after that. It's 24/7 by 365. Third thing is no business, no industry, no job can be separated away from the market. You are somehow or the other going to make decisions which are related to the markets. So you need to be invested in Sensex or be in stock to understand this market. You need to read one financial paper. If you have not read the papers, please don't come to the classroom. Period. Absolutely. What are you doing? Picking up the book and coming to the college. What are you supposed to do? Take down the notes. Is this 10th or 12th? No way. You are matured. You have come for higher education. Observe the market. Come back with lots of questions. Take part in case studies wholeheartedly. And important thing, though reading habits have gone down, you must have an objective or reading at least one book per week. One book per week. You have to read. And believe me, if a doctor says or an engineer says, yes, I have passed my MBBS, but I have not read for last 5 years. Will you go to such a doctor? And here you're studying management. So my important point is enjoy MBA. Live MBA, live MBA. 24. How do you live? You live all 24 hours. You never say, I live only for 8 hours and 16 hours I go to sleep. You live all 24 hours. Otherwise, you are not there. So live MBA and not only study MBA. Now, how to do? Major part is with you. You have to be proactive. It's your life. It's your job. It's your business. Don't wait for the professors to come and do. But yes, there would be options. So people ask me which is a good college. I say all colleges are good. Depends how you take it further. What you do about it. There are many options, but I think so Sanit and Practical Eduskills are already working on this. I'm really glad. So this could be one of the best options where you get all these, most of the things which I've spoken about. I think you are already doing it and you're always aware what the market wants. A square cannot fit into the round. You have to see what the round is. Accordingly, hone it up. So be in the industry, be in the environment, be in the ecosystem, read a lot, at the same time, enjoy a lot. At the end of your MBA, without referring to books, if you can remember 70-80% of what you have learned, then you have done MBA. With this, I would like to end. My time is over. It's always a pleasure to connect to you all, to get a chance to express whatever little I know. Thank you. Thanks, Sanmeet. Thanks, madam.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gandhi, sir. Immense knowledge, profound knowledge that you have. I am sure those who are contemplating doing their MBA, it will be very easy to take a decision. And of course, the guidelines that you have given them, they will work on those guidelines. And of course, MBA is something that you should live and enjoy. Thank you so much for your valuable time and guidance, sir. Thank you so much, Practical Education.
I would like to add something. I would request Geeta ma'am once again to allow me to speak. I've learned that you need to be, I've understood that you need to be learning all the time. Means your antenna should be all the time receptive. Today I tried that, and yes, even though the program was arranged for MBA aspirants, Chakor sir, you are continuously source of inspiration, information, motivation, and I learned two things, which is mantra for me from Guru, you being the Guru. Two mantras that I have learned today is, I hate to be taught and I love to learn. And the second one, the market is the best university of the world. These two things are really like mantras for me, and thank you so much for these words of wisdom, sir. We are really fortunate. Again, I would like to express this, that we are really fortunate to have you on our board. I'm planning while you were having the interactions, the plan was going in my mind that if we can arrange periodic interactive sessions with you by giving your umbrella of mentorship should say 30 students and continuous interaction with you like we discussed earlier, that would be a great source of information and knowledge for them as well. So we will work upon those things as well, sir. Thank you so much once again. And thank you so much, Geeta ma'am, for giving me an opportunity to speak once again. Thanks a lot, sir.
Thanks, Sanmeet, and thanks, Geeta ji. And actually, this is more fun when it's interactive, but there are limitations to do it on this platform. But in future, I would love to interact. I would say love to teach, but to interact with the students. Actually, this is the time we learn from this generation. It's time for us to learn from these millennials.
Absolutely, sir.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Chalo. See you soon. Thank you. Thank you, all of you.